I had requested you to shall we start this? I'm not. Any problem in hearing me? Any problem in hearing me? Hello?
No, sir, it's audible.
Audible, sir.
Okay. So, will somebody volunteer to become the facilitator? Will somebody like to become a volunteer? प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, दो होने से प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. Who is nominating himself or herself to become a volunteer? Any one of you? Will anybody like to be a volunteer?
Sir, your voice is echoing, sir.
Pardon, sir?
Your voice is echoing, sir. It's echoing.
Now also?
Yes, sir, I think I'll just log in again, sir. Just a minute.
Now I think his voice is okay. Is it not? Still there is a problem in voice? कैसे होगा? It should not be a problem. Everything is okay. I don't know why there is a problem again. Hello?
It's audible now, sir. Thank you.
Shall we continue or should I change the laptop? I think it is okay. It is, I don't know why it is not. Should we go with the exercise or should drop it if you have problem?
We can go ahead, sir.
So I want somebody to be a facilitator for this session. Who would like to be the facilitator? Anybody? Lot of hesitation. lot of hesitation, then how you can go with the exercise? चलिए छोड़िए इसको.
Jimmy sir,
Okay, I think there is hesitation in becoming a facilitator.
sir, I would like to volunteer, sir.
So we can drop it for the time being, the exercise. But I request you, I had sent a
Increase your audio.
another
please.
handout. जी सर.
सर आपका ऑडियो थोड़ा फीका है सर.
हाँ वही तो प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. क्यों हो रहा है? The same setup I used previously, there was no problem. Today I'm seeing problem in this. Actually, great. Hello,
Hello sir.
is it okay now?
Yes sir, it's better than before. Yes sir.
Better. So I was telling that since there is hesitation in becoming a facilitator, we can drop.
I will volunteer sir.
You volunteer. What's your good name, sir?
Sir, Dhananjay Subramaniam.
Ji?
Sir, Dhananjay Subramaniam.
Subramaniam. Okay, good, very good. So Subramaniam Sahab is offering himself to become a I out of the 6 people, Sunil, Amar, etc., whom the company should retain and why. I request you to go for a discussion for 5 minutes first, 5 minutes. If it is not resolved, I can extend it to another 5 minutes. But in 5 minutes, you can go with a discussion and come at a consensus, not by voting, who should be retained. Not by voting, by convincing or getting convinced. So your time starts, you can begin now.
Sir, can you repeat the case study once more, sir? I think your voice was cracking in between.
And sir, I also joined late, so I don't know the case, sir. Can you
Yes,
please
I have
repeat
given
it?
you about more than 2 weeks ago, and I have communicated at least twice.
Okay,
The
sir.
name of the case is who to retain. Have you gone through it?
No, sir.
It was sent, I think, more than 2 weeks ago. And in the previous session, we were supposed to discuss it. We didn't discuss because that session didn't happen. So I think you are not ready with it.
No, sir, not ready today.
So not ready, so we can't discuss it. And along with it, I had sent you facilitating evaluation, a template. So I had sent a mail also to everybody for becoming ready with this case for today. So what was in my mind that one person, one of you will be the facilitator, and then the remaining members, they will discuss together and they will arrive at a consensus, keeping in view the company's situation, who should be retained and why. So I expected that everybody will speak his or her choice and the reason for that choice, and a consensus decision will be made by the group who should be retained. And after this discussion for 5-10 minutes is over, then all of you will facilitate, will evaluate the facilitator using this format, this template, which has 16 dimensions, and a rating had to be given from 1 to 10. And I had communicated about it, not twice, 3 times. Unfortunately, don't know what happened. So we can drop it. That was the design of this particular exercise. So now we will go with the presentations, and you can see this presentation. Are you able to see the transparency? Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Is visible, sir.
Dimensions of facilitator effectiveness. So since this is a closing, in a way, closing session, and most of the things which I thought, or rather we thought, the program director, program coordinator, those things I have already discussed with you. Now this will be a type of wrap-up session. So I will make this presentation, and after that, I will request you to come out with your questions. Anything, any doubts, any questions about facilitation. Whatever I have taught, whatever I have not taught, that doesn't matter. So this is our, show you. For being a good facilitator, effective facilitator, what are the important dimensions? I'm trying to sum it up. This is not the thing. There are many things which can be in addition to what I'm showing, but this is a very famous model and we have used it extensively. So I thought I must share with you. So the very first dimension of facilitator effectiveness is the person. The person means the facilitator as a person. I have talked about many requirements. Here we will sum up by enumerating a few important ones. Empathy. Empathy. All of us understand that the facilitator is not a person who has no feelings. He is a person who has all the feelings, and when discussions are going on, he also has this prerogative to empathize, to feel and empathize with the person who is sharing or who is giving some solution or sharing some problems. Empathy means understanding that person's emotions, that person's feeling, not only understanding, rather having the same feeling as the person. So that's why it is called empathy, not sympathy. And one of the requirements for empathy is to be or to come at the same level, similar level. Not that I am a facilitator, so I am a senior person and that person is a member, so that person is a junior person, not like that. The other thing is congruence. Congruence can be explained in many ways, but one of the important prerequisites for being congruent is that there must be some balance between the thought, feelings and actions. The persons must be congruent, means whatever the person is feeling and thinking, the same thing is coming in his words or non-verbal communication. I will explain each one of these a little more. The other thing is acceptance. All of us are different. We can't say two persons are identical. We are different and we have been blessed with different gifts. One person's may be very soft and sober in communication. The other person may be very abrupt or very arrogant. The question is that when I am a facilitator, am I rejecting somebody? No. I have to understand that people are different and whether I don't like somebody's statements, the contents, I will accept the person as a human being, as a member of the group, like any other member. The other is flexibility. Flexibility means opposite to rigidity. It's not that I have told something, so that is the line on the stone, patthar pe lakeer wo nahi hai. When I am looking at the situations, the circumstances, the people involved, and the place, I should be flexible enough to change my stand. That is flexibility. So these four, among many other things, are there, but these four have been highlighted as the very important dimensions of the person level. Then skills. I had a long session, previous session, on facilitating skills, facilitating techniques. Those are all relevant, and a facilitator who is more skilled will be able to use alternative skills in different or appropriate situations. But that is a plethora of skills, and each one of those skills are important. We should practice, we should be skilled into that. But out of those, few skills are crucial. Without this, facilitation cannot be done. Which are those skills? Listening skills. Appears very simple, but it's not that simple. But being a student of training and development, I think each one of you might have undergone a number of skills of listening, or you might have practiced listening skills Yes. Listening is of different levels. Ignoring is a type of listening. Then hearing is a type of listening. I'm only hearing the words, but I'm not understanding it. Then there is selective listening, things in which I am interested. I will listen to only those things. Things I'm not interested, I will not listen at all. One is passive listening. ठीक है, जैसे अभी हो रहा है, मैं बोल रहा हूं और आप सुनते जा रहे हैं. So this is passive listening. Then comes active listening. What is active listening? What is active listening?
Sir, participatory, where you are speaking and we are responding, or we are coming up with questions or and things like that.
Yeah, you have just given an example of active listening. I was worried whether people are listening, people are not listening, but when you just now responded, I could know. So in active listening, the participant is listening at the same time. The participant does also something verbally, non-verbally. What participant can do? Participant can ask questions. Participant can paraphrase. Participant can support. Participant can say that, sorry, I don't agree with you. So there are many things a participant can do. Even nodding one's head while somebody is speaking, that also indicates active listening. The other type of listening is empathetic listening. You are not only listening, you are experiencing also the you are experiencing also the feelings or the emotions through which the speaker is going through. So that is empathetic listening. And it's my experience that with empathetic listening of facilitator, I think the members in the group, they feel assured, they feel encouraged to share their ideas and their feelings. So this is what is empathetic listening. The other thing is responding. Yeah, please. The other is responding. Again, I think the problem has started.
Well, responding is very, very positive because when you react, you might react negatively, but when you respond, you always respond very positively. Am I right?
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Just hold on. Something has happened. Something has happened here. Just wait. Coming. Mhm. Yeah, how, hello, hello.
Yes.
Okay. How the facilitator responds, uh, that also determines the effectiveness of facilitation. One may respond in a very, non-committal manner. One may respond in a very critical manner. One may respond in a very, very aggressive manner. So, how one is responding, that determines actually the effectiveness of facilitation to a great extent. So, responding is also a skill. How I am responding to. And you, as a trainer, you yourself might have seen, or in a meeting, that how different people respond in different manners. Another important skill is expressing oneself. Yes, the facilitator might be knowledgeable, the facilitator might have diagnosed the issues so well, but if he is not able to express himself or herself clearly, I think people will not truly understand what that person wants to say. So, this skill of expressing oneself, uh, I think all of you are trainers. So, you are very, I think, you might be very good in your communication. This expressing is not only verbal communication, it is again in totality how you are how you are communicating. For example, sometimes wavering your finger, even if you are telling something very polite or something good, something very objective, true, but you are wavering your fingers on somebody while speaking, it may irritate. पहला काम करेगा, ये इरिटेट कर देगा, और दूसरा काम ये करेगा कि if the person becomes irritated, the person will not be focused on the content, what a person is saying. So, one is that the language should be very simple. No unnecessary words, no ornamental English or Hindi, whatever you are speaking. Simple, it is conveying the meaning. It doesn't have two meanings, means no ambiguity, and tone of expression should be assertive, not aggressive, not very much submissive. Yes, occasionally submissive will occasionally submissive is okay, but not always. Assertive, you are telling whatever you want to say clearly, openly, forcefully, but taking the precaution that the other side is not hurt, insulted, or demeaned. Your confidence, self confidence should be visible or should be reflected in whatever you are speaking. So, expressing oneself, the way you express oneself, and in facilitation training, this particular thing is emphasized very much. by, taking a feedback by other persons that how they are experiencing. And then this is interventions we use very often. What is intervening? Intervening should always be with some purpose. So what I'm telling that this interventions or intervening should be a planned one. Planned one means before making the intervention, one should think why I'm making the intervention. What is the purpose of this intervention? Is it the appropriate time for this intervention, or I should do it sometimes else? What is going to be likely to be the impact of this intervention on other people? Are other people going to understand this intervention? So this intervening skills, how you are intervening, is very useful. Sometimes simply asking a simple question like, where are you? That brings the person or the group on the appropriate track. So a facilitator has to make a number of interventions, and in my handouts, I have given you a good inventory of interventions. What could be the different types of interventions? Observation skill, observing while discussing group procedures. I have given, I think, enough importance on this. And this template about which I am talking, those of you who by mistake have not got this template, facilitating evaluation, a template, please send me a mail. I will send it back to you immediately. So this evaluation is based on observation. Observation. The main task of the facilitation is to observe and collect data, make other persons also share their observations, and then with the help of the group or when let the group make an inference out of that. And another skill is designing. Designing what? Designing your facilitation session. What I'm going to do, how I'm going to do, how much time, which skills, which interventions. So this designing, I think without designing, the facilitation may not succeed. Then these techniques, some of the techniques, skills and techniques, very difficult to distinguish. Conceptually, I have made some distinction in my previous session, previous lecture. Many of us mix up the two, skills and techniques. But only thing is that when we use a technique again and again, it becomes our skill. When we practice a technique again and again, it becomes our skill. So techniques, one of the techniques is structured experiences or structured exercises. When we are facilitating, sometimes we have to use some structured exercises in the group. Structured exercises for arriving at consensus, structured exercises for understanding the issues, understanding the problems, structured exercises for some change in one's behaviors, structured exercises for enhancing self-awareness or giving feedback. This is structured exercises or structured experiences. But thing is that it should not be used for, uh, you know, creating some sensation in the group or for getting the clappings in the group. For example, I will tell you, I found a person in one of my labs. In 2 days deliberations, I found that that person is very much confined to himself. That person wants to remain within himself, and he has been doing it at his home, in the office, and in the lab itself. Person has created some sort of circle around him and wants to remain only in that circle or only in that comfort zone. Whenever a person finds that water or air is becoming a bit hot, the person will come back to that. And it was coming as a greatest, obstacle in his growth and getting his thoughts, his feelings to the group. So it was going on, and I found that no lecturing is going to help there. I went for a structured exercise, thought of. We were sitting on the ground in a room. I asked that person, some 15 persons, 15 participants, 14, 15, and I took the permission of that person. Can we have a game with you? Will you participate? Hesitated, but he told yes, sir. So I told him to just come in the center of the room. We were all sitting along that four walls. Enough space was there in the center of the room. It was a bedroom of a hotel. So I told him that please come in the center and stand and take a round. Look at the faces of everybody. So the person got a little scared, but he did it. He was just smiling. Then I took the people. No, I did not take them out. I told the people that, gentlemen, let's stand around this person. So in a circle, everybody stood around that person. And I was giving the instruction that nobody will speak, nobody will ask me any question, nobody will tell anything, whether he likes or doesn't like. I told people to take out their watches or specs or pens from their persona, from their body, keep it somewhere else. And then I told them that please come. I asked the feeling of the person. When everybody was surrounding and standing around in the room, I asked that person in the center how are feeling. He told he is feeling very good. So I told them that please come 1 feet ahead. Make your circle a bit smaller. They made it. I brought them another step forward, means closer to the person. And occasionally I was asking the person, how are you feeling? When he found that people are hardly at a distance of 2 feet from him, there was some, his face some, yes, his face appearance changed. And I asked him, he told me, sir, I'm getting a bit anxious now. I told people to come a little more closer. He is telling, my heart has started beating fastly. I'm getting a little scared. And I told people that being 2 lines or 3 lines, holding your hands together and stand like a very strong wall around that person. So they came very close to that person and they were holding their hands. And I told them, this wall, external wall is so strong, nobody can break this wall. And then I asked the person, how are you feeling? He was not able to share the feeling. Then he told me, sir, I'm really feeling scared what is going to happen. And then I told this person who was in the center, now it's up to you. Either you remain here you are, or you break the wall around you and make yourself a free, uninhibited person. He, I think, got some hint, but for 3-4 minutes, he was simply moving around in his place, looking at people's faces, and he was not making any efforts to make it. I had to further facilitate it by telling, this is the opportunity, you can break this strong wall, but the wall is so strong you will not be able to break. And then I told Ki, you do whatever you want to do. And then person tested the strength of people by his hand, was trying to find out what is the weak place from where he can sneak out. And he was basically trying to force, but the wall was so strong. He made a few attempts, got tired, frustrated, again came back. Everyone was observing. I made again a facilitation effort by 1 or 2 sentences, and the person got a bit ill. Again, he got, this will to break the wall. And when he tried again, he could not break the wall. Then, within a twinkle of eyes, the person slipped down on the ground and, like a fish, he came out from the, came out between the legs of these persons. These people were not ready that the person will do this, and the person could come out, and the person was waving his hands that, see, I have done it, I have done it, I have done it. So the question is that when we processed, it came that this person had the courage to break the barriers, and then he told me, now in my life there is no barrier and I can overcome any type of people or any type of situation. So question is that this type of structured exercises which are not standard, which you can learn or you can develop yourself. So these structured experiences are very, very useful at times. The other thing is confrontations. What is confrontation? Confrontation is not fighting. What happens in the groups? That some people are there. Whenever there is a situation where they have to do something or they have to say something, they will feel some fear or hesitation, and they will simply not do anything. So this is avoidance. Basically, you might have learned in conflict resolution, responses of people in conflicting situations. So they simply avoid. They don't do anything. They don't speak. They don't contradict. they don't accept, they don't reject, simply keep quiet, avoidance. Some persons are there who initially on a issue they will not speak anything, and they will try to just see that, okay, this is a very tough moment, but after some time it will diffuse, it will go. So they will keep on waiting that by somebody else's initiative or on its own, the situation will become light, situation will diffuse, ये issue पर से ध्यान कहीं और चला जाएगा, ये issue रह जाएगा. So diffusing, waiting, some persons keep on waiting, and some persons are there who are no longer able to avoid or keep waiting. They realize that yes, here something is coming out with which I don't agree. So if I don't agree, then how can I keep quiet? How can I get things go? I will express my resentment or my disagreements. So that person at times comes out and shares his or her agreements, disagreements, points, and this is called confrontation. Agreeing that there is a difference of opinion and making efforts to resolve that. But this is also not very easy. You might have seen in groups or in meetings in your organization that some persons use their power in resolving these type of issues. Power means their position power mainly. I am deputy general manager and this person is simply a deputy manager. So if I tell my things a bit more assertively, more aggressively, they will agree to that. So using your power, there are many types of other powers also people use, but just for the sake of simplicity, I am telling about only one power. Some persons are more educated, highly educated. They find that the person who has a different opinion or other persons are less qualified, then that person's qualification comes as a power. Some persons are more articulate. Some persons are not able to speak that well. They think they are more powerful. So they use their powers. And whenever power is used to resolve an issue, it invites reactions, whether reactions are, explicit or hidden. But Newton's law, every action has a reaction. It will invite, things will not be resolved. And even if the person agrees, the person will not agree from the core of his or her heart. Confrontation. So the other more functional way of confrontation is by discussions, by dialogues, by negotiations. So different types of confrontations, different types of negotiations. And negotiation, if it is not bargaining, it is not a bad thing. Negotiation means I will bring about my thoughts, my proposals, my propositions in a certain manner. I will listen actively, empathetically when somebody else speaks, and together we will bring out a more acceptable solution, that is called collaboration. So from confrontation to collaboration, this skill has to be practiced, because by way of our personality factors, many of us, we are inclined to either avoiding or diffusion or confrontation by power or confrontation by negotiation. So that's why this negotiation skills is only not bargaining, rather listening, speaking, and seeing what is more rational and what is more acceptable. Go for that sort of solutions. Sometimes I have spoken that day also, small lectures that help. But as I shared that day, we should find a slot for that. For example, a facilitation group is going on, session is going on, and it's going to be the lunchtime. And the facilitator is finding that some sort of conceptual inputs here, or some sort of sharing examples of somebody else here may help people to clarify their doubts, make the things more clear. So the person finds a slot, the okay gentleman, for example, let's go for lunch. And after lunch, when we come back, we will spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes on a different type of a different type of thing, that is maybe some small lecture or some small discussion, and the person finds a slot, and within that time slot gives this lecture. Sometimes it helps. In performance management systems, when my system was being overtaken by a multinational system in the organization, I have shared this experience with you. There was a concept in that, stretching. So director had called a meeting of all the top people, GMs and EDs of the company and different units. And they were talking about stretching. Many things came, but when this stretching point came, and I was a disgruntled person. I had told them that I will not do anything for this system or something like that. I will not be the leader to implement all these things. But my director sent another very senior person that he should call me. And he told that, tell him that in half an hour, he has to make these people be clear on stretching. Not on clear on stretching, should accept whatever is in the system. So I had not planned any exercise, structured exercise, but he told 15-20 minutes time will be given. So I came, and first I thought to make people understand, let people understand the stretching of performance with the help of a small lecture. So he had not given me any time also, not even 5 minutes time. So I prepared mentally a small lecture on stretching. But I was thinking that if I start lecturing, these people will stop listening. Otherwise, also they know that I'm a trainer. So I exercised. I designed a very small structured experience first. And that structured experience was for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And after that, I asked their observations, their inferences, and taking data from that, I gave a small lecture. Lecture I'm telling because I did not use any transparency or any sort of thing. That's why I'm not calling it presentation. Lecture, drawing points from them. And with a clapping, thunderous clapping, the session ended and people broke for lunch. So if you are using, if you have used, if you have learned these different types of techniques, according to situation, you can use it. Then comes theories. facilitation essentially is a behavioral science matter, I will say, or behavioral science subject, facilitation. And facilitation uses almost entire range of behavioral science concepts and theories. So I think anybody who aspires to become a good facilitator should have a good understanding of organization behavior, no doubt about that. But certain theories about, say, personality theories, good to understand, not very complex ones, but simple ones. Then some theories like systems theories, Levitt's model, task, structure, technology, human resource, internal environment, external environment. So, like this. Group dynamics or group processes, I have spent, I think, 2 sessions or 3 sessions on that. And this spelling is wrong. This is community behavior. Community behavior. How do people behave in community? There are some concepts, some theories about this also. So these are the theories one can learn, and overall organization behavior. And having a good book, these days lot of literature is available. In our time, books and journals were the only means, but these days on the net you can get plethora of things. Otherwise also, whatever is your discipline, it's my very sincere and humble submission to you. Please have a good understanding of organizational behavior. And last but not the least, practice. Practice repeatedly with different situations, with different people. Please don't wait that somebody will tell you and then you will facilitate. Create those type of situations in your family. Create those type of situations in your group, small group or department section where you are working, and every day this type of things will come, and with different types of people, so that you become more confident that I will facilitate any type of people. So this is what it is. Since I had facilitated all levels of people, workers meetings, supervisors, lower level, senior level meetings, and all top level meetings, I had a good confidence on myself. So once through a consultant, when I got an opportunity to facilitate a workshop, rather, a part of the workshop held by Department of Public Enterprises, not Public Enterprises, DOPT, Department of Personnel and Training, many years ago, maybe some 8-9 years ago, when this DOPT wanted to adopt human resource approach. They had engaged a consultant and the consultant had taken me. So I had no hesitation in facilitating the meeting with bureaucrats, starting from the 3-4 years experience to joint secretary. Secretary was also a participant, the secretary of DOPT, but we requested him that, no sir, you simply remain an observer and keep on sharing your observation. The question is that the practice will make you more confident. Yeah, just I'm going through the presentation, then you ask me questions. Complete empathy is not possible. Of course, we can never fully experience someone else's situation, but we can try to see things from other person's perspective and this effort is clear. You can empathize only when you see yourself in, experience yourself in other person's shoes. So when you look at that person's perspective, yeah, sometimes, when I was, yeah, I worked for a very long time, and I was lucky enough to work for my own organization. My own organization had 23 divisions. So it was like 23 organizations. And organization was also permitting me to give my services to other organizations. So I did that also. Yeah. And many times when I find that I'm going to have a very hostile group tomorrow, so in my preparations in my room, sitting in my room, I will say or I will present alone my own perspectives. Sometimes I will keep some observer also. My observers will be usually very young people, management trainees or 2 3 years experienced persons with whom I'm very free, those type of people. So sitting in my chair, I will, say my perspective, say on performance management. And I know that I'm going to go to that unit tomorrow, and that unit normally is very hostile towards corporate office. And I'm a representative of corporate office with them. So I will change my seat and I will go to the opposite seat on which normally visitors will sit. And I will sit there, spend some time, have a cup of tea or coffee, and come in the role of those, uh, you know, uh, those hostile people. And I will ask questions from their perspective, and I will ask questions from that table, and again I will come to my seat and I will answer that question. So this way, I did the practice of seeing the other person's perspective. Acceptance, I have spoken to you, important personal dimension, allowing another person to be different, to have different set of values, this, that. People are different, so we can't say, we can't accept or reject a person. Anybody is in this society, he is a person and we should accept it the way he or she is. Yes, later on in the course of discussion or when we become close, we will talk about the strength and the limitations of the person. Then congruence. A congruent person is aware of what he or she is doing, feeling, and is able to communicate that to another person in a straightforward manner. That is congruence, and this is possible when the person is having a balance between his thoughts, feelings, and actions. We call it as a equilateral triangle. Flexibility, healthy, psychologically matured person is flexible, not dogmatic, rigid, opinionated, or authoritarian. A healthy consultant or facilitator should be able to deal with another person at that person's pace. If people have these personal attributes, they are therapeutic. Just being around them makes one feel good. They help by being well integrated persons themselves, well integrated person. The most meaningful direction facilitators can take is towards improving their own personal development, furthering their own understanding of their values, attitudes, impulses, and desires. Two major personal conflicts that facilitators must be able to resolve for themselves are their individual capacities for intimacy and their relations to authority. Intimacy and authority, dealing with this is a great thing for facilitation. There are some other components also which are important for facilitators' effectiveness. Skills. We have talked about these skills. Okay, talking to skills. Will somebody tell me what are the objectives of communication?
To make the other person understand in a very
Okay.
simple and candid manner.
Right. Okay. Any other person would like to say something? This is what my friend is telling. This is the most widely agreed objective of communication. Anybody would like to add?
Communication. Yes, sir. Communication means understanding each other and exchanging our thoughts.
Understanding and exchanging also. Okay,
Yes.
you brought this one another
It's a
dimension.
two-way.
Exchanging.
It's a
It
two-way
should
process,
be.
sir.
It is a two-way, or it should be two-way. Very good.
Transfer messages and thoughts.
Please repeat again. Hello. What
Transferring
message?
of messages and thoughts.
Answering all messages and thoughts. Okay. Any other thing? Good. At least at the end of the session, some interaction has taken place. Actually, if I see, according to me, there are three major objectives of communication. One is what our friend told, and you also added to that. That is to ensure understanding. That if I am a speaker, whatever I am speaking, I intend to speak. You, as listeners, you are understanding it fully or totally. So this is ensure understanding, and in that my simple language or my articulation or my pace, my pitch, choice of words, all these things matter. So first one is to ensure understanding. The second one, because I am telling and you have understood, does my purpose of communication get satisfied? मैंने कहा अपने बच्चे को कि तुम्हें रोज 4 घंटे पढ़ना चाहिए, 2 घंटे सुबह में स्कूल जाने के पहले और 2 घंटे शाम को स्कूल से आने के बाद। और मैंने उसको हिंदी में कह दिया, इंग्लिश में कह दिया, समझ गया। मैंने पूछा कि हाँ मैं क्या कह रहा हूं, तो उसने रिपीट कर दिया जो मैंने कहा है। तो माई कम्युनिकेशन इज कंप्लीट और इट इज रिमेनिंग, समथिंग इज रिमेनिंग। If
Yeah, right.
Yes, sir. His response is remaining. Whether he
response
has
is remaining.
understood.
So what 90% of us emphasize and say that objective of communication is to be fully understood by the other person. That satisfies only part of the communication objective. Another objective may be to ensure acceptance. Whatever I have told, spoken, presented, does the listener, does my audience, do my people, they are agreeable to it? Do they agree? Do they accept it? But most of the managers, we either don't think it is the objective or purpose, or they are scared, they are a bit afraid to tell this as their objective. Why? Because how will I know whether you have understood or not? How will I know? Sorry, whether you have accepted or not, how will I know?
Feedback.
Feedback. Sometimes your body language, your facial expression also conveys whether you have accepted or you have not accepted. Or if I am asking a feedback that, okay, gentlemen, whatever I told, do you agree to it? Is there anybody who has a different opinion? So if I am asking questions, if I am seeking feedback, then only I will be sure to what extent people are accepting whatever I have communicated to them. So second one. Now I'm assuming that with the efforts of the speaker, the people have largely accepted whatever the person was trying to tell to them. Then, is it complete, sir?
Right.
Or is still remaining something? ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में रोज होता है,
Hmm.
घर में भी होता है.
Hmm. Complete information is important because incomplete information does not make the communication complete.
Okay.
Creates
is it?
misunderstanding.
Huh?
Incomplete communication creates misunderstanding, sir.
But we have come to the second stage. The first stage is left to ensure
Mhm.
understanding. If we ask question, if I seek the feedback, then I will be able to know to what extent they have understood me or not. And if I find that somebody has not understood or part of my statements have not been understood, I can again share that in a different way by some figures, stories, chart, lecture, whatever it is. So once I'm sure about step 1 to ensure understanding, then I go to 2, objective 2, that is whether they are accepting or not. And accepting or not, it can also be tested by questions, by feedback, or by looking at their body language. But my question is that I am satisfied that people have accepted it. Whatever I have told, people have accepted it. So, is the objective of communication complete or still something is remaining?
Yeah, still something is remaining.
What is that?
Putting your communication into action.
Yeah. I think I feel like clapping for your answer, gentlemen. Dear friends, very few of us go to this stage. Unless and until people do what I'm telling it to them, unless and until it is not bringing a change in their behavior, how can I make sure that the things will be achieved or the goals will be achieved? So question is that the third objective of communication is to ensure motivation for action. Motivation doesn't mean incentive scheme. With my words, with my statements, with my body language, with my interpersonal relationships, whatever it is, am I feeling sure that people will go for doing what is required to be done? Then my third objective of communication is complete. So we should not be satisfied as many of us become that if people have understood, my objective is over. So the techniques I have already shared with you. Yeah. Theory is a resource. It is one of the components of facilitator uses. I think I have spoken about this also. And practice. So this way I have tried to basically wrap it up. Now friends, some 10-15 minutes are remaining. If anything is in your mind, please come. I will try to respond to that. Anything on facilitation?
Sir, I have one doubt, sir. I should have told it is in earlier. But sir, you are talking about confrontation as a technique of facilitation.
Hmm.
Sir, how can we use it? Can you just give one example of this? I understood the concept of confrontation, how it is working, but in the context of facilitation a session, that time how I will use it, sir?
Okay. Nahi, as I told, this will be used when there is difference in opinion. Difference in opinion. For example, uh, when we go for performance appraisal anywhere in the classroom or in the implementation of a session, what happens there? In the workshop, there are people some are there who are appraisers as well as appraisee. Some are appraisee only, and some are appraisee only. So question is that when we talk about whether this results of performance appraisal, it should be open or not. It should be open or not. Some persons will say it should be open. Mainly what I have seen that the people who are only appraisee, they will say it will be open. Those persons who are very senior level people, who see themselves mainly in the role of appraiser, they will say no. In my organization it had happened. बोला कि पार्था, जो लोग थोड़ा बहुत काम भी कर रहे हैं, अगर हम उनका अप्रेजल ओपन कर दें, कल से वो काम करना भी बंद कर देंगे. और ये किसने कहा? This was the opinion of a large number of our R&D personnel. R&D personnel, BHEL Bhopal का जो R&D था, there was a time when there were 200 PhDs there. और उनसे कोई बोलता नहीं था because वो थे कि टच मी नॉट, उस टाइप के लोग थे. जब मर्जी आएगा तो ऑफिस में आएंगे, जब मर्जी जाएगा तो जाएंगे, कोई टास्क टारगेट कुछ नहीं हम करेंगे, कमिट नहीं करेंगे, और फिर भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन उनको सब कुछ देता था. So when this type of things changes we were making, this was the greatest thing there. अब वहां पे as a facilitator, I was a facilitator also, I was officer of the company also. It was my own organization, only a different unit. What is to be done? I had a choice. To avoid, नहीं भाई, R&D के जो लोग हैं, वो जानते हैं, that was the only unit. आपको एक एग्जांपल मैं देता हूँ, जहाँ पे right from worker to general manager और ED, ये मॉर्निंग में अपने घर से आएंगे, ऑफिस टाइम, सपोज ऑफिस टाइम इज फ्रॉम 9 to 5:30, तो 9 बजे ऑफिस आएंगे. 9 बजे ऑफिस आने के बाद इनके लिए ब्रेकफास्ट आएगा, बढ़िया ब्रेकफास्ट, सांभर, इडली या जो भी है. ये लोग क्या करेंगे आके कि अपना ब्रेकफास्ट लेंगे. पहले आधा घंटा लगेगा इनको ब्रेकफास्ट ट्रॉली पर से लेने में और उसको खाने में और अपने प्लेट्स को रखने में, और उसके बाद फिर ये अपना काम शुरू करेंगे. बहुत दिनों तक वहां पे कार्ड पंचिंग नहीं होता था, अटेंडेंस रजिस्टर भी नहीं था. ये बोलते थे कि हम साइन नहीं करेंगे, हम साइंटिस्ट हैं, हमको रात में कुछ मन में आता है तो रात में भी हम चले जाते हैं, हम दिन में भी सो जाते हैं, रात भर जगह रहते हैं, बैठे रहते हैं. वैसे जगह में अब ये था कि इनको कन्फ्रंट करना है कि नहीं कन्फ्रंट करना है, और नहीं कन्फ्रंट करना है तो क्या चॉइसेस हमारे पास में है? हमारे पास में है अवॉइड कर जाओ, हम जाके अपने बॉसेस को बोल दें कि भाई very difficult to implement open this thing there. मेरा जो अपना वैल्यू था, मेरा जो कॉन्सेप्ट था, मेरा जो था, वो कह रहा था कि नहीं यार, ये तो ओपन होना ही चाहिए. ऑर्गेनाइजेशन था जो टर्मोइल नहीं खोजता है, कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कहीं इसी बात पे हल्ला गुल्ला नहीं हो जाए. सो वेरी डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन. अब वैसे में क्या क्या करें हम? कन्फ्रंट करना है. और कन्फ्रंट कैसे करेंगे? डायरेक्ट कन्फ्रंट करेंगे. आई वॉज इन माइनॉरिटी एटलीस्ट, इफ नॉट अलोन, और कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिस का लगा हुआ था, एंड many of the participants were at senior levels than me. तो क्या करूं मैं? कंफ्रंटेशन कैसे करूं मैं? तो वहां पे उनके लिए हमने ग्रुप वर्क दे दिया, और ग्रुप वर्क में भी हमने कुछ रोल्स बांट दिए. दिस ग्रुप इज गोइंग टू टेल फ्रॉम ए प्रेजी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, this group is going to from a pressure point of view, and this group is going to say from management point of view. Or one thing is good in that organization that I'm telling, because I am no more with them. इनको टास्क दे दो तो टास्क पे पड़ जाते हैं. तो ये लोग भी थोड़ा सा इधर उधर बात किया 2-4 मिनट, उसके बाद टास्क पे आ गए. और टास्क पे आने के बाद में इन्हीं के स्टेटमेंट हमने लिखा, और वहां पे कन्फ्रंटेशन, बहुत बढ़िया कन्फ्रंटेशन हुआ. लेकिन वो कन्फ्रंटेशन किसके बीच में हुआ? पार्थसारथी और उनके बीच में नहीं हुआ, वो ग्रुप्स के बीच में हुआ. और उसके बाद में फिर मैंने उनको कन्फ्रंट किया बेस्ड ऑन देयर डेटा, एंड थिंग्स वर रिजॉल्व. दे एग्रीड फॉर, वी स्पेंट 1 कंप्लीट डे ऑन दिस. 2 दिन पहले तो प्रोग्राम हो चुका था परफॉर्मेंस मैनेजमेंट का. इट वाज द 3rd एंड लास्ट डे. तो ये कन्फ्रंटेशन. सो व्हाट आई एम टेलिंग दैट, पहली बात तो ये है कि अपना आइडिया उनके सामने पहले रखना नहीं चाहिए. A good facilitator doesn't do. Whatever you are a professional, you have your own ideas, you know that this is better than anything else, or this plus, this minus, but better that ki create a situation that confrontation occurs between them, और उसके बाद में उस डेटा को आप यूज करो तो वो आपका डेटा नहीं रहेगा, that is their data only, or that will help. So this is one example. There can be many types of examples, but the question is that, is the facilitator straight away, if comes in that discussion, then it will not remain facilitation, it will become something else. This has to be done, but this has to be got done with the help of the group members, with the help of those people. Same thing we use for multi-skilling. I was very sure about multi-skilling होना चाहिए organization में. हमने एक बार try किया था, limited. My model was implemented by many of the PSUs in the 80s. But ये बाद में 2005 के around that, even after 2005, again it became a MOU item for the company implementing multi. Then what to do? Then a joint committee meeting was being held with management representatives and trade union representatives. And I told chairman कि उस मीटिंग में हमको आप 1.5 घंटे दे दीजिए, तो ये मल्टी स्किलिंग काम कुछ कर देंगे वहां पे. They agreed, and वहां पे हमने कर दिया. उनको हर ग्रुप में I made 3 groups, and in every group there were equal number of trade union leaders and equal number of managers. और इस इशू पे कि मल्टी स्किल होना चाहिए कि नहीं होना चाहिए, अगर होना चाहिए तो इंसेंटिव देना चाहिए कि नहीं देना चाहिए. और यू विल बी सरप्राइज कि इस तीनों ग्रुप में प्रेजेंट किया ट्रेड यूनियन लीडर्स. मैनेजर्स को हम लोगों ने बोला कि बोल दिया था पहले ही कि प्रेजेंटेशन इनको आप इंकरेज करो, दे विल डू दैट. और सबने प्रेजेंट किया कि मल्टी स्किलिंग होना चाहिए और मॉनेटरी इंसेंटिव कुछ नहीं देना चाहिए. सो क्वेश्चन इज दैट कि इस कन्फ्रंटेशन को आप करा देते हैं, आप खुद नहीं करते हैं. या एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
So on the trainer's part, a good facilitation skill must be there, sir. Otherwise, it can lead to very awkward situation and very tricky situations also, sir.
Actually, if you see good models of trainers, what is a requirement of a trainer, you will find facilitation skill is definitely there. And that's why perhaps ISTD has kept this in your course itself. So question is that this, because you as a trainer, you may not use this in a very formal manner.
Mhm.
You may use that also. But in the classroom itself, when you are telling, when you are handling a group of 15, 20, 10 people, basically what are you doing? You are facilitating. And
Yes.
if a trainer is good at facilitation skills, facilitation, the complexion or the structure or the design of his training or her training program will change. है ना?
Mhm.
And it will, the greatest benefit is that it will encourage involvement of people, and it will also increase the ownership. देखिए, मैं कह
Yes.
रहा हूं कि आप ये काम करो एज ए ट्रेनर, तो नोट करेंगे वो नोटबुक में, but they may not go to their heart. But when they have discussed and they have arrived at this type of conclusion or this type of experience, then they will own it. ये मेरा है, मैंने किया है, और then only they are going to implement it. So according to
Yes, sir.
me, every trainer should have a good, will be
Facilitation
good
skill.
at facilitation skill. That is what it is telling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Come friends, I think I have given you
Sir,
lot of, I think, very relevant handout. Very rarely facilitators give it that way, the way I have given.
Yes, sir.
Your ISTD itself was surprised ki how you can giving it without any monetary or this and that. I didn't ask them anything. तो मैंने, लेकिन it is my value that when people are giving time, I should give them as much as possible, and I've given you good handouts. Kindly use that.
Yes, sir.
And my personal this thing is that ki I shall be available to you for any sort of, any sort of, I will not say help, any sort of information or to resolve your dilemmas. That is what I can say. So thank you very much. I enjoyed. Initially, there were some disturbance because of technical